I stood by the mansion's window, watching Gu Shurian's car pull out of the main gate. Today, he was wearing that navy blue custom-made suit I had ordered for him just last month. The sapphire cufflinks on his sleeves were also my pick. He's at a board meeting, no dinner. When he said those words, his eyes were so gentle I almost believed every single one of them. But I already knew. 3 months ago, I accidentally found another phone in his study safe. It held over 400 WeChat records between him and Lin Shuyi. More than 500 photos, and 27 videos. It took me a whole week to go through all that content. From the initial shock, rage, and heartbreak, to the final calm and resolve, I didn't cry. Father taught me tears are useless. If you're wronged, you either endure it or you fight back. I chose the latter. For those 3 months, I still seemed to obey Gu Shurian. He wanted money, I transferred it. He wanted power, I gave it. He said the company was having cash flow problems. I made him head of my subsidiaries. The look in his eyes grew more and more contemptuous. Probably thinking I was stupid to the core. But only I knew. For every transfer record, every contract change, I had Ms. Zhou keep notarized backups. 2 copies at the law firm. And 1 more in my encrypted hard drive. The password is known only to me. I installed 6 hidden cameras in his study. 1 inside the chandelier in the bedroom. 2 in the potted plants in the living room. 3 behind the outlet panels in every room he frequents. Those feeds stream in real time to my private server. The server's key is engraved inside a necklace pendant. I wear it day and night, never taking it off, not even to shower. 3 years ago, my father said at our engagement, "Qingli, if you ever feel wronged, just come home. Dad will always wait." But he died last year. Too sudden. A heart attack, resuscitation failed. I only saw his last glance at the hospital. His mouth was open, wanting to say something, but not a single word came out. Back then, I cried my heart out. Gu Shurian held my shoulder and said, "Don't cry. You still have me." Thinking back now, that was probably the moment. He was already scheming, wasn't he? My fingers unconsciously rubbed the necklace pendant. The cold touch of the metal snapped me back to reality. Ms. Zhou stood 3 steps behind me. A habit she's kept for many years. Always maintaining the professional distance of an assistant, miss. The banquet starts at 7 tonight. Would you like to arrive early? No rush. I turn around and sit at the vanity. I see my reflection's delicate face. Her makeup is flawless, impeccable. A perfect, practiced smile graces her lips. But I know what lies behind that smile. Let Gu Shurian go in first. Wait a moment at the entrance. Yes. Ms. Zhou hesitates. Also, last night, Lin Shuyi texted Mr. Gu again. Said he absolutely must bring her tonight. I slowly apply the lipstick. I press my lips together. Let him bring her. Perfect, actually. Ms. Zhou doesn't ask further. She quietly exits the room. 6:30 p.m. I change into my dress. I walk to the study and open the surveillance system. On the screen, Gu Shurian's car is parked in front of an apartment building. Lin Shuyi gets in, wearing a champagne-colored bodycon dress. That dress was a birthday gift from me last year. She said it was too sexy to wear out. It was too sexy for me. They're chatting in the car. Lin Shuyi's hand is resting on Gu Shurian's thigh. Her head is leaning on his shoulder. I secretly installed a dashcam last week. The feed is so clear I can even make out the brand of her mascara. I watch the screen, a slow, deliberate smile curling my lips. Time's about right. I change into a black velvet gown. I let all expression fall from my face. I shed the persona of the poised, proper Shen family heiress. Ms. Zhou brings the car to the front. Before getting in, I turn and look back at the villa. This house was left to me by my father. His osmanthus tree is blooming beautifully. The garden is fragrant. Dad, watch over me. Tonight, I'll get justice. For you. And for myself. The car stops in front of the Grand Court Hotel. It's 7:10. I'm in no hurry to get out. Instead, I watch the hotel's revolving door through the window. Gu Shurian is standing there with Lin Shui. That suit really does suit him. He says something to the doorman. The doorman shakes his head, apologetic. They're being denied entry. I smile. Just as expected. I personally finalized the guest list for tonight. I crossed one name off with a red pen. And wrote another one in with black ink. Ms. Zhou is always thorough. The security at the door only follows the names on the list. They don't ask questions. Miss, 5 more minutes. Ms. Zhou's voice comes from the driver's seat. I watched Gu Shurian pull out his phone and dial 3 times. Every call was for me. My phone was on silent. The screen lit up. Gu Shurian's name flashed 3 times. Each call was more frantic than the last. By the 4th one, I blocked the number. He probably never expected me to not pick up. His expression shifted from confusion to pure annoyance. Then he started arguing with the security guards. Lin Shui was standing right beside him, clinging to his arm, decked out in head-to-toe sparkle. That jade jewelry set looked way too familiar. It was a gift from my dad for my 18th birthday. Last year, Gu Shurian said he borrowed it to impress a client. Borrowed and never given back. He was trying to impress this client. I pushed the car door open. My heel hit the pavement with a sharp, clean click. Ms. Zhou got out too. She grabbed a briefcase from the trunk and fell in step behind me. Let's go. I headed straight for the hotel entrance. My heels sank into the red carpet, each step steady and deliberate. Guests were trickling in, chatting in small groups. A few people recognized me, nodding and smiling in greeting. I smiled right back. But my eyes never left those 2 at the door. Gu Shurian must have heard the click of heels. He whirled around. The moment he saw me, his face went through a whole damn slideshow. Shock first. Then relief, and finally a strained, ugly smile. Qingli, you're here. This guard doesn't know me. Keep saying my name's not on the list. He didn't get to finish. Ms. Zhou stepped between us. Mr. Gu. Her voice was calm as a weather report. Apologies for keeping you waiting. I bring a message. My young mistress has decided. As of today, you and the Shen family are finished. The engagement is off. Gu Shurian's face went white in an instant. It was fascinating to watch. Like a sandcastle someone spent hours on, wiped out by one wave. First, the shiny facade cracked. Then everything underneath just started to crumble. His lips moved. His eyes darting between me and Ms. Zhou a few times. Finally, he forced out a hideous grin. Ms. Zhou. What kind of joke is this? This is no joke. Ms. Zhou pulled out her phone from the briefcase. She tapped it, brought up a photo, and held it right in his face. 8:15 p.m., 2 nights ago. Shouldn't you be in a board meeting, Mr. Gu? Who's in this photo? Gu Shurian enters the hotel elevator with Lin Shui. Lin Shui's hand is resting on his chest. The 2 are kissing in the elevator. The angle is perfect. Their faces are crystal clear. Gu Shurian's Adam's apple bobs. A fine sheen of sweat breaks out on his forehead. Guests behind him pull out phones to record. The murmur of whispers rises like a tide. What does this prove? She's my assistant. We were going to the hotel for a meeting. Ms. Zhou cuts him off. Her tone remains unnervingly calm, like stagnant water. No need to explain. My mistress, Shen, has a message. From the engagement until now, you've been using the Shen family's money to expand your own company. Living in their mansion, driving their car. And then using that money to fund your side piece? Does Miss Shen even need such a fiancé? Lin Shui's face turns as white as a sheet. Her hand is still gripping Gu Shurian's arm tightly. Her nails are practically digging into his flesh. Gu Shurian shakes her hand off. He steps closer, whispering. Ms. Zhou, tell Shen Qingli to come out. I need to speak with her directly. Not necessary. Ms. Zhou steps aside. She gestures towards the hotel entrance. My young mistress Shen says, if you insist on going in, that's fine. But, are you sure you want to go in? Gu Shurian follows her gaze into the hotel. His entire expression freezes. On the banquet hall wall facing the entrance. The screen meant for his company's promo. A surveillance video is now playing on a loop. On the screen, Gu Shurian and Lin Shui are in a hotel suite. Lin Shui is sitting on his lap. Her arms are wrapped around his neck as she whines. Shurian, when are you finally going to dump that Qingli? I'm already 3 months pregnant. Our child can't be born without a proper name, can it? Just wait. Once I swindle her project plans. The Shen family only has one daughter. Once she marries me, the entire Shen group will be mine. Why worry about a name then? Hurry up. I won't walk down the aisle looking like a whale. The screen flickers, cutting to the next clip. Gu Shurian is on the phone. Mr. Wang, don't you worry. Once I marry Shen Qingli, that prime piece of Shen group land is yours. That stupid woman still thinks I'm genuinely in love with her. Ha ha ha. His laughter blares from the speakers. It echoes in every corner of the hotel. The crowd gathered at the entrance is now several layers deep. Some stifled laughter, others shook their heads. Others eagerly recorded the scene. Gu Shurian's face had completely drained of color. He staggered back a step, almost colliding with Lin Shui behind him. Lin Shui gripped the railing, knuckles white. Her lips trembled, unable to form a single coherent sentence. Mr. Gu, Ms. Zhou's voice rang out again. Like a blunt knife, not sharp. But would you still enter, knowing it'll hurt? If you wish, I can show you the way. But I must warn you. There's even more spectacular content inside, 3 hours worth. Are you certain you want all the guests to appreciate it with you? Gu Shurian didn't answer. His lips moved soundlessly. A few garbled sounds escaped his throat. Like the final struggles of a beast with its throat in a vice. He instinctively took a few more steps back, turning to flee. He stopped after 2 steps, seeing me. I looked at the man I loved for 3 years. The man I had trusted with everything. His face was as pathetic as a drowned rat. Countless images flashed through my mind. Our first meeting, him smiling and saying, "Hello, Miss Shen." The engagement, him on one knee, slipping on the ring. At my father's funeral, he said, "Don't cry. You have me." Those images shattered, frame by frame. The shards dug in. It hurt, but felt liberating. Gu Shurian, I spoke. The moment I opened my mouth, my voice was so calm it even surprised me. Your video was quite the show. His pupils contracted violently. His lips quivered. Finally, he whispered, "Shen Qingli. How could you do this? Our 3 years together. How can you be so heartless? 3 years? I laughed. There wasn't a shred of warmth in that smile. The 3 years you spent swindling my money? Or the 3 years you cheated with countless women? I just lost my way for a moment. I truly loved you. It was her. Lin Shui seduced me. Enough. I took a step forward. My high heels made a sharp, clear click on the silent floor. The crowd around us automatically parted, forming a circle, trapping him and me in the center of an invisible stage. Camera flashes went off, shutters clicking non-stop. But in my eyes, there was only him, Gu Shurian. You know what? I installed those cameras myself. From our engagement's first day, every word you said. Every single thing you did. I knew it all. Perfectly. His pupils constricted again. His whole body swayed. I waited 3 years, I said, enunciating each word clearly. I've been waiting for this day. Waiting for you to tear off that hypocrite mask in front of everyone. His lips trembled, a choked, guttural sound escaping his throat. The handsome, confident, always in control Gu Shurian now looked like a puppet with its strings cut. Collapsing right before me. Go on in. I turned my body slightly, jerking my chin towards the hotel entrance. There are plenty of your old friends waiting inside. Let them all see what Gu Shurian really is. I left without a second look. Flashbulbs lit the red carpet. I walked up the steps in my 12-centimeter heels. My back ramrod straight. Behind me, Gu Shurian's hoarse shouts grew faint. Blocked by bodyguards stepping forward. His words drowned in banquet music. The moment I stepped into the grand hall, every single gaze shifted from the giant screen. All 300 guests, every eye was on me. Every one of them a big shot in Portland. The business partners who called him brother. The officials who accepted his gifts. The socialites and wealthy wives who dined with him. Their expressions were a sight to behold. Shock, admiration, schadenfreude, and guilt. I looked at each one, memorizing every face. Keenly. A few socialite friends immediately swarmed me. Zhao Xiaohan, the Zhao family heiress, reached me first. Her eyes sparkling with excitement. Oh my god. Were those videos real? Did Gu Shiyan really do all that? I took a champagne flute from a waiter's tray. Taking a small sip. What do you think? Oh my god. Zhao Xiaohan covered her mouth. You put up with him for so long? If it were me, I'd have skinned him alive ages ago. I didn't respond. My gaze drifting over the crowd back to the screen. Gu Shiyan kissing Lin Shui in a hotel. Lin Shui's head was thrown back, lost in ecstasy. Shiyan's other hand rested on her slightly rounded belly. Who said I was putting up with anything? I set down my glass and walked towards the central stage. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. The whispers swelled and ebbed like waves behind me. I climbed the steps, one by one. Taking the microphone from the host's hand, I turned to face the sea of faces below. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice boomed through the speakers, filling the hall. Cool and clear. Tonight, I've invited you all here. First, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Shin Group. Second, I paused. My gaze swept over the sea of faces below, curious, tense, excited. I want you all to watch a show. A low murmur rippled through the crowd. Someone couldn't help but ask, Miss Shin. The big screen? Those? I shook my head. Those were just the trailers. I pulled a USB drive from my pocket and held it up. This? Every call Gu Shiyan made in 3 years. WeChat chat logs, hotel check-in records. Bank statements show him siphoning Shin Group funds. 37 gigabytes total. A collective gasp echoed in the hall. I handed the drive to a staff member. The screen lit up. The first file was a screenshot of a WeChat chat. Gu Shiyan's profile picture and a contact saved as Baby Tingting. Gu Shiyan, baby, meet me at the usual spot tonight. Baby Tingting, won't your fiancé find out? Gu Shiyan, so what if she does? That stupid woman. She believes anything I tell her. Yesterday, I lied about a cash flow crisis. She transferred 5 million without a second thought. Baby Tingting, really? And the money? Gu Shiyan, of course, it's for your new bag. Oh, right. That Hermes you wanted? I'll order it tomorrow. Baby Tingting, you're the best, hubby. The room erupted. 5 million for a bag. He's inhuman. The Shens were so good to him. And he's screwing them over like this? I stood on the stage, my face in a motionless mask, watching the chat logs scroll by. Every single screenshot. I took them myself. Every date, every timestamp, burned into my memory. From the first 5 million transfer, to the 10th 3 million. To the 20th million, Gu Shiyan treated my accounts as his own. Taking whatever, whenever. The screen changed. This time, it was a phone call recording. The voices were crystal clear, as if they were in the room. Gu Shiyan's voice, don't worry, Dad. Everything is set with the Shin family. Once I marry Shin Qingli, the Shin Group is ours. The old man only has one daughter. Once she's gone, the entire fortune will be mine. Raspy voice, is Shin Qingli completely wrapped around your finger? Gu Shiyan, absolutely. A few sweet words, and she'll believe anything. I said I needed help expanding. She transferred 3 subsidiaries to me. No questions. Raspy voice, good, good. That's my boy. Once you take down the Shens, our Gu family will finally be on top. Their shameless, grating laughter blared from the speakers. The room is dead silent. Everyone's watching me, trying to find a trace of anger or sadness on my face. But there's none. I'm still smiling, calm and composed. See, everyone? This is the man I was engaged to for 3 years. My voice is steady, without a single tremor. Using my money to support another woman. Using my resources to score points with his father. Playing me for a fool for 3 years. Mission. A voice calls out from the crowd, "What are you going to do?" What am I going to do? I take a document from a staff member. I unfold it and show it to the room. It's a notarized statement. It lists every transfer amount and time, in meticulous detail. Every contract number and signing date. For the past 3 years. Gu Shiyan embezzled 102.3 million yuan. Every single transfer, every single contract is verifiable. I've hired a lawyer and sued. Not only that. Evidence submitted. Fraud. Embezzlement. He'll get 10 to 15 years. Applause starts from a corner, sparse at first. Then it grows louder, merging into a wave. Someone shouts, "Good." Crowd cheers, "You go, Miss Shen." I raise a hand, signaling for quiet. My gaze sweeps over a few middle-aged men in the corner. They're the biggest partners of the Gu Corporation. The very people Gu Shiyan came here tonight to schmooze. The money Gu Shiyan took from me. Most of it was funneled into the Gu Corporation. ADM and Gu Corporation money. I speak slowly, each word deliberate. I don't care what deals you have with Gu Shiyan. From this moment on, any project he's involved in, the Shin Group will pull all funding. The money he owes me, I will get back. Every last cent. As for you, I smile. If you want to keep working with him. Partnering with a con artist? How do you think that's gonna end? The faces of those middle-aged men pale. They exchange a few quick glances. Then silently pull out their phones and step aside to make calls. I know they're calling their company lawyers. Terminate dealings. Con man. A man about to be ruined and dragged through the courts. Who'd do business with him? A man in white approaches. That man is a reporter from Portland TV. Also, someone I arranged to be here. Miss Shen. We received a tip that Gu Shiyan didn't just swindle your money. He was with your best friend? Gasps. My best friend? I lower my gaze, the smile on my lips deepening. Who are you talking about? Lin Shui, right? The reporter shouts, from what we've gathered. Lin Shui was your college roommate for 4 years. Your best friend. You even got her a job at the Gu Corporation, didn't you? Right. I nod. I did get Shui that job at the Gu Corporation. I made her Gu Shiyan's personal assistant. I thought having my best friend by my fiance's side would help keep an eye on him. Who knew? Sighs. Shakes head. Who knew she wouldn't just fail to watch him, but end up in his bed herself? The crowd erupts again. That's too far. Steal your best friend's fiancé and get pregnant? Disgusting. She was flaunting her belly at the door earlier. Where is she now? She ran. She ran a long time ago. Saw things going south. And bolted faster than a rabbit. I listened to all this. A perfectly composed smile never leaving my face. No one knows how sweet this moment tastes. 3 years. For 3 years, I've watched Gu Shiyan put on his act in front of me. Watched Lin Shi play the devoted best friend. They thought they were clever, fooling me. I watched coldly for 3 years, playing the fool. Just for today. Waiting for all the guests to gather. For all the evidence to be ready. For the two of them to swagger in front of everyone. Then, slit their throats. I raise the mic again. My voice cool and clear once more. Tonight's banquet will continue. Please eat, drink, and enjoy yourselves. As for that filth, glances at the frozen image on the screen. Let it stay right there. As a cautionary tale for you all. Applause rings out again, louder than before. I step off the stage. And am immediately swarmed. Congratulations, well wishes. Loyalty pledges, business cards, non-stop. I handle it all. Flawlessly. Only when the crowd finally thins. Do I take my glass and walk to the floor-to-ceiling window? Gazing at the city lights. Miss Ms. Zhou has appeared behind me. Did you find it? I don't turn around. We found her, Ms. Zhou lowers her voice. Lin Shi didn't get far. She's holed up in a cheap motel on the west side. She's on the phone with Gu Shiyan right now. They're fighting. Bad. Lin Shi's demanding Gu Shiyan fix this. Gu Shiyan's telling her to shut up. Says he's contacting people to handle the situation. Handle it? I laugh out loud. With what is he going to handle it? I've frozen all his cards. His properties, his cars, the courts will seize them tomorrow. No place to sleep. How will he handle it? Ms. Zhou hesitated. Miss. What if Gu Shiyan gets desperate and bites back? I turned to look at Ms. Zhou. The light reflected 2 cold stars in my eyes. I'm counting on him to get desperate. If he doesn't come for me, how can I send him to prison? If he doesn't bite, how can I make sure he rots there? Ms. Zhou's lips moved. She hesitated, then said nothing. Yes, Mississippi. Tomorrow morning, leak that motel's address to the press. Have them go interview Lin Shi. Ask how she feels being the other woman. Have someone tell Gu Shiyan who he meets, what he says. I want it all recorded. I need to know his every move. Understood. I turned around, gazing out the window again. The city lights twinkled in the night. And now, I could finally stand here with my head held high, watching those who hurt me fall into the abyss, one by one. The banquet ended late, around 11. I got into the car, and just as I shut the door, my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. A hoarse male voice came through. Shen Qingli. You think it's over? I'm telling you, it's not. Just you wait. I won't let you get away with this. It was Gu Shiyan. I leaned back in the seat, a slight smile touching my lips. Gu Shiyan. I've waited so long for this call. He paused. I'm waiting for you to make your move. I spoke slowly, deliberately. Waiting for you to dig your own grave. After saying that, I hung up and blocked the number. The car started moving, merging into the night. In the rearview mirror, the lights of the banquet hotel grew distant, then dim. Ahead lay a brand new road. That night, I slept well. The first good sleep in 3 years. Next morning, headlines updated everywhere. Gu Shiyan. Lin Shi found homeless on streets at night. Ex-tycoon's shocking downfall, exclusive footage. Gu Shiyan returns to love nest with Lin Shi. Pair spotted cohabiting. Shen Qingli's ex-fiance's pitiful state. Netizens, karma's a bitch. The photos showed the 2 of them walking the streets last night. Lin Shi looked disheveled, clutching her stomach. Gu Shiyan's face was full of defeat. The images were crystal clear. The comments exploded. Serves them right. That's what cheaters deserve. Wasn't Lin Shi pregnant? Let's see her gloat now. Shen Qingli nailed it. Now that's a queen. I sat at the dining table, taking my time with breakfast. Ms. Zhou read the articles from a tablet. And this one, Gu Corporation issued a statement this morning. All of Gu Shiyan's actions were purely personal. The company has severed all ties with him. Cooperating with police. I sipped my milk. Oh, miss, there's one more thing. Ms. Zhou flipped to the next page. Boss Chen sent word. He said he followed your instructions. He gave Gu Shiyan a final ultimatum. Within 3 days, pay up or lose a leg. 3 days. I set down my cup. Too long. Ms. Zhou was taken aback. Do you mean to give him one less day, miss? I stood up, picked up my napkin, and dabbed my lips. Within 2 days. I want every single one of his escape routes blocked. I want him to truly understand what it means to have no way out. Ms. Zhou nodded. Understood. Also, regarding Lin Shi's apartment, we've contacted the landlord. A slight smile touched Ms. Zhou's lips. The landlord said. They'll repossess it tomorrow, paying the penalty. But the apartment must be reclaimed. Good. I left. That's all for today. Keep me updated on any developments. Yes. Mississippi. I reached the door and suddenly stopped. Ms. Zhou. Yes? Any news from Fu Hanchen's side? Ms. Zhou's expression shifted slightly. She hesitated before speaking. Not yet. Rumors say he may return next month. I stayed silent. After a pause, I opened the door and left. Sunlight fell on me, bright and warm. Yet my silhouette carried an indescribable chill. Fiance. I haven't uttered that name in 3 years. 3 years ago, he was the hottest young prodigy in Portland. He built Morning Light Group from the ground up. By 28, he was on the Forbes rich list. Back then, I had just gotten engaged to Gu Shiryan. Everyone in our circle said Gu Shiryan wasn't good enough for me. Only Fiance was. But I didn't listen. I loved Gu Shiryan. Loved him recklessly, without a second thought. Then, Fiance suddenly vanished. Heard something happened. Some said financial crimes. Others said a business dispute. But there wasn't a single clear truth. He vanished completely clean. As if he had never existed in this city at all. I only remember the last time I saw him. It was at my engagement party with Gu Shiryan. He stood far away in a corner, holding a glass of wine, looking at me. There was something in his eyes I couldn't understand back then. I'll find him to talk when the party ends. But I couldn't find him anywhere. And after that, he evaporated completely from my world. Over these 3 years, I'd think of him occasionally. But it was just a passing thought. I had my own battles to fight. My own revenge to carry out. I didn't have the extra energy to worry about a man who'd disappeared. Standing in the sun, a thought suddenly hit me. If, 3 years ago, I had chosen Fiance instead of Gu Shiryan, would everything have been different? I shook my head. I threw that thought right out of my mind. There are no what ifs. No what ifs. I chose my path, I'll walk it. Ms. Zhou is terrifyingly efficient. Next afternoon, she texted, Lin Shi cornered at a cheap motel. A dozen microphones were shoved in her face. Camera flashes lit up the hallway like it was broad daylight. Lin Shi was wrapped in a faded nightgown. Her hair was a mess. Her belly was already very obvious. The whole person looked so haggard she was barely human. Miss Lin, how do you feel betraying your best friend? Miss Lin. Gu Shiryan has been sued by the Shin Group, did you know? Miss Lin. Who is the real father of the baby in your belly? Lin Shi buried her face in her arms. Her voice was hoarse as she screamed, stop filming. Stop filming. I watched those scenes later on my phone. She was huddled in a corner of the motel hallway. Like a trapped animal being hunted. Gone was the Chanel-clad woman from the parties. I locked my phone screen and tossed it aside. No expression on my face. Serves her right. That evening, Shiryan was found in an abandoned parking lot on the east side. The ones who found him were Baldy, one of Boss Chen's men, and his 2 lackeys. They say when they found him, he was curled up behind a wrecked minivan. Unshaven for days, suit wrinkled like old pickles. Baldy dragged him out from behind the car. Photos were sent to Boss Chen's phone. Boss Chen forwarded them to me. In the photos, Gu Shiryan was kneeling on the ground. Baldy's foot on his back, hands on the pavement. Face dirty, lips cracked, eyes full of pure terror. I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I saved it into a folder named Collection. That folder already held over 200 similar photos. All taken on my orders this past month. Gu Shiryan recognized at store buying noodles. Gu Shiryan chased from bank while withdrawing cash. Partners hang up on him. I saved every frame. Like collecting trophies. Miss Zhou's voice came through the phone. Boss Chen asks, should we make our move tonight? No. I leaned back in my chair, watching the sky outside gradually darken. Let him sweat. See him tomorrow. Bring what? That lawyer's letter. I paused. And the report on his father's smuggling. Ms. Zhou was silent for a few seconds. Probably didn't expect me to have that up my sleeve. Miss, when did you get that material? 3 months ago, I said. His father's dirt, smuggling, laundering, bribery. Any one of those is enough to put him away for 10 years. I was saving it as my final trump card. But it seems it's about time to lay it on the table. Understood. After hanging up, I sat alone in the office. Outside the window, neon lights flickered on one by one, outlining the city's silhouette. 3 years ago, the night my father passed, the view was just like this. I cried all night in the hospital corridor. Gu Shurian held me, saying, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." The next day, when I got home, his first call wasn't to ask about arranging my father's funeral. It was to ask if my father had left a will. How the Shin Group shares were distributed. I was so naive back then. Fooled by his concern. Next morning, Ms. Zhou took 2 lawyers to that abandoned parking lot. I wasn't there for the specifics. Ms. Zhou recounted it to me later. She said when Gu Shurian saw the lawyer's letter, his whole body went limp, like his soul had been sucked out. He turned those pages over and over, reading them several times. He asked, "Is Shinqingli set to ruin me?" Ms. Zhou's reply, I heard later on the surveillance recording. She said, "Mr. Gu, when you were deceiving my miss for 3 years, did you ever think about what destroy completely means?" Gu Shurian had no answer. Then Ms. Zhou brought out the second item. That report on his father, Gu Zhenghua. Although I wasn't there myself, Ms. Zhou described it vividly. His lips trembled for almost a full minute. He asked, "What else does Shinqingli know?" "She knows far more than you imagine." Ms. Zhou gathered the documents and stood up. "Mr. Gu, you have 2 paths now. First, turn yourself in honestly. Embezzlement could get you 8 years. Serve time, reform, maybe become normal again. Second," she paused, "you keep hiding. Let your creditors come find you and settle the score. You know better than we do what loan sharks do to people." Gu Shurian chose a third path. He ran. I wasn't surprised when I heard the news. That man, Gu Shurian, is a master at running away. From responsibility, from consequences. From anything he actually has to face. For 3 years, every time he screwed up, I was the one cleaning up his mess. But this time, I wasn't there to bail him out. He ran for 2 days. Boss Chen's men cornered him in a Southside warehouse. This time, I didn't have anyone take pictures. But I heard the details. When Baldy found him, he had barely $30 on him. His phone was dead. He scavenged for food, a walking skeleton. He wasn't alone, either. Lin Shui was with him. The 2 of them were crammed in that abandoned warehouse, using scavenged cardboard boxes to make a nest on the floor. When Baldy kicked the door in with his crew, Lin Shui was curled up in a corner, clutching her stomach and crying. Gu Shurian squatted, yelling, "Shut up, it's annoying." Baldy saw the whole thing. Later, over drinks, he said the scene was so pathetic. He almost felt bad about what came next. But Boss Chen's men don't let feeling bad stop them. 3 days later, Shurian showed up in the ER of Portland First General Hospital. Left wrist broken. 2 ribs cracked. 7 stitches on his face. The hospital called the police. When the cops arrived, from his bed, I want to turn myself in. When the news reached me, I was negotiating to acquire a French luxury brand. I put down my phone, picked up my coffee, and took a long sip. The coffee tasted especially good that day. A month later, Gu Shurian's fraud case went to trial. I didn't attend the hearing. Ms. Zhou went for me. After the trial, she called me. Said he got 9 years. Gu Shurian pleaded guilty in court. No appeal. Standing at my office window. A cloudless, brilliant blue. Reminds me of my engagement to Gu Shurian. It was a beautiful day just like this. My dad was wearing his favorite gray suit. He held my hand and said, "Qingli, I just want you to be happy. Dad, I didn't let you down. I put Gu Shurian in prison. I drove Lin Shui out of Portland. I acquired Gu Corporation into Shin Group. And next, I'm going to rip the Gu family out by the roots. One Gu family leader remains at large. His name is Gu Shiding. Gu Shurian's older brother. The true power behind the Gu family. He framed Fu Hanchen 3 years ago. The mastermind pulling Gu Shurian's strings. I don't have concrete proof about my dad's death yet. A gut feeling says the connection is real. I open my phone and pull up a photo from the album. A photo from my father's funeral 3 years ago. Goose Shitting is standing in the back row, dressed in a black suit, with a faint, almost imperceptible smile on his lips. I was sobbing my heart out back then. I didn't even notice him. But later, when I looked through the photos, that smile felt like a thorn stabbed right into my eyes. From that day on, I knew my enemy wasn't just Goose Shiryan. 3 months of investigation. Not too long, not too short. I hired the best private detective team in the country. Spent a 7-figure sum. Finally managed to dig up most of Goose Shitting's dirty laundry. He's the real puppet master of the Goo family. On the surface, he runs a legitimate investment firm. He smuggles, launders money, commits fraud. His reach is long, his network is tangled and deep. He's not like that useless idiot Goose Shiryan. Goose Shitting is meticulous. He covers his tracks. Always has a backup plan. The evidence he used to frame Fu Hanchen 3 years ago? Wiped clean. Fu Hanchen still hasn't been able to clear his name to this day. But Goose Shitting has one weakness. He's too arrogant. He thinks with his skills, he can manipulate everyone like puppets. He thinks Fu Hanchen will rot in prison. He thinks Shen Qingli's just a dumb heiress. He's wrong. I put the photo down. Pick up another file on my desk. It arrived 3 months ago. An anonymous tip to an insider email. Details Goose Shitting's corporate espionage. I thought a rival was using me. Until I traced the email's IP. The location it led to was a place I never expected. Portland First Penitentiary. The person who sent that email was Fu Hanchen. In that moment, a lot of things suddenly clicked into place. Why Fu Hanchen was framed and jailed. What he must have endured during those 3 years. Why he vanished without a single word. And why he chose to send me that message, right at this specific time. I went back and reread that email from start to finish. Every single word. And then, I did 3 things. First, I compiled it into a 47-page dossier. I had experts from 3 different law firms cross-examine it, verifying the reliability of every single lead. Second, I had Assistant Joe, under the guise of our charitable foundation, wire an anonymous sum of money into Fu Hanchen's prison account. Enough to hire the best lawyer. I began setting the pieces on the board to take down Goose Shitting. That chess game. I played it for 3 months. Every move was calculated with extreme caution. Goose Shitting wasn't as easy to handle as his brother, Goose Shiryan. His eyes are sharp, his ears are long. He catches the slightest whiff of trouble. My assistant approached him twice. The first time was at a private club. He sipped wine, probing for 20 minutes. Not a single crack in his armor. The second time was at a public business gala. He was the one who walked over to exchange pleasantries. Asked about my brother, with a polite smile. His eyes were cold. I smiled back, more polished. He's doing well. Says prison food is better than he imagined. Goose Shitting's expression shifted, just a fraction. But only for a split second. Then he was back to that refined, gentlemanly facade. You're joking. I'm not. I sipped my drink. Visit my office, Mr. Goo. We need to talk. He looked at me. Silent for a few seconds, then laughed. All right. I'll visit another day. That day never came. Goose Shitting's instincts were sharper than I'd anticipated. He must have smelled danger in those 2 sentences of mine. For the entire month that followed, he dodged every single event where we might cross paths. He covered his tracks completely. I started to wonder if he'd already guessed what I was holding. But I didn't give him much time to react. One night, 3 months later, I received a letter from Portland First Penitentiary. The paper was thin, standard prison stationery. The handwriting was lean and sharp, each stroke carrying weight. Miss Shen, I received that money you sent 3 months ago. Thank you. There are some things I need to tell you in person. About your father's death. About goose shitting. I know about your investigation. If possible, please give me a chance to meet. It was signed with 3 words, Fu Hanchen. I read that letter 3 times. Then I sat under the desk lamp for a long, long time. The city lights blazed outside the window. And I held that thin piece of paper in my hand. Like grasping an umbrella from a rainy day many years ago. Back then, I was young and believed in everything. I picked up a pen. On the back of the letter, I wrote a single word, okay. That night, I had a dream. There was an osmanthus tree in it. A small courtyard. My father tied a swing for me. I was very small in the dream. Running around under the tree in a pink dress. My father turned and smiled at me. Chingli, slow down. He said. Don't fall. When I woke up, my pillow was wet. A month later, on the day Fu Hanchen was released. I didn't go to pick him up. Ms. Zhou asked me why. I said the timing wasn't right for a meeting. I was lying. I wanted to go. But I was afraid. Afraid that when I saw his face, I wouldn't be able to control my emotions. All my buried guilt and regret flooded back. Afraid I'd cry in front of him. So I didn't go. Ms. Zhou went for me, with a bouquet of flowers and a new suit. Later, she reported back to me. Fu Hanchen was much thinner than he was 3 years ago. But his spirits seemed okay. He smiled when he saw the flowers. Said he still remembered I liked white ones. I turned away. Pretending to watch the clouds outside the window. That evening, I met Fu Hanchen at a cafe across from the Shin Group building. He was wearing that dark blue suit I'd sent with Ms. Zhou. Sitting by the window. An untouched Americano sat on the table in front of him. The setting sun slanted through the glass, gilding the profile of his face in warm, golden light. I sat across from him, watching. He was so much thinner. The once confident, vibrant Fu Hanchen from 3 years ago. Now the line of his jaw was sharper than I remembered. There were faint shadows under his eyes. But those eyes were still startlingly bright. When he lifted his gaze to look at me, my heart skipped a beat, then settled back to normal. You came, he said. I replied. Then there was a moment of quiet between us. The cafe was playing soft jazz. The table next to us had people chatting in low voices. Outside the window, the street was bustling with evening traffic. Thanks for sending that money, he spoke first. Without it, I couldn't have afforded my current lawyer. Just a small thing, I said. That email you sent me? It was a huge help. He smiled slightly. We helped each other, he smiled. His smile was the same as 3 years ago. The fine lines at the corners of his eyes, even the slight tilt to the right when he smiled. I looked away, picked up the cup on the table, and took a sip. It was ice-cold lemon water. Are you okay? He asked. Great, I put the cup down and looked back at him. Better than 3 years ago. You? Not bad. He leaned back. It's quieter inside. 3 years. I read a lot of books. Figured out a lot of things. Like where I went wrong 3 years ago. His gaze landed on my face. Lightly. Yet it felt heavy on my skin. 3 years ago. I had found some leads about your father's death. I wanted to tell you back then. But goose shitting was faster than you'd think. He reported me for bribery and obstruction of justice. The evidence was beautifully fabricated. I didn't even get a chance to defend myself before I was inside. Later, in there, I thought. If I hadn't chosen to investigate alone back then. If I had discussed it with you. He paused, shook his head. No ifs. I didn't reply, just listened quietly. Outside the window, the sky gradually darkened. The lights in the cafe came on one by one. Now I'm out. His voice was calm. What goose shitting owes me. I'm taking it back with interest. Your father's account. I'm settling that too. About settling accounts. I picked up the lemon water and took another small sip. Count me in. He looked at me. This time, he smiled. A different smile than before. Like something had loosened in his eyes. Shen Qingli. It's been 3 years, he said. You've become even more formidable than before. Oh? I smiled too. I've become even more hateful. He didn't argue. We sat in that cafe for a long time that day, talking from dusk until late at night. I shared the results of my 3-month investigation with him. He told me the leads he'd uncovered while inside. Putting the two sets of information together, it showed how Gu Shitting set up Fu Hanchen 3 years ago. How he used Gu Shiyan as a pawn to get close to me. How he gradually devoured the Shin group. And then, when we got to the final topic, his voice grew very soft. Your father's medication was switched. My hand paused. The lemon water in my glass sloshed. The attending physician who prescribed it was named Zhang Feng. 3 days after your father passed, he resigned. Took his whole family and emigrated to Australia. Gu Shitting gave him a huge sum of money. Enough for him to live comfortably there for the rest of his life. Fu Hanchen's voice was steady. Searched Australia for months. Found him last month. He's willing to come back and testify. But there's a condition. The condition is we can guarantee the safety of him and his family. I stared into the night, silent. The lemon water was nearly gone. A thin film of condensation clung to the glass. No problem, I said. I'll handle security. How many men does Gu Shitting have? I'll hire twice as many. Fu Hanchen looked at me. His eyes held something. Aren't you afraid? Afraid of what? Afraid of Gu Shitting? He's not like Gu Shiyan. He's truly capable of anything. I set down my glass. I pulled my gaze from the night outside and fixed it on his face. Fu Hanchen. My father was murdered by him. What do you think I have left to be afraid of? He didn't speak. He just watched me, quietly, for a long, long time. All right, he finally spoke. All right, then, we'll do it together. Together. When the word left my lips, a strange feeling began to spread in my chest. For 3 years, I'd carried everything alone. Gathering evidence alone. Setting the trap alone. Waiting alone for the moment to strike back. Now, suddenly, someone was standing beside me, saying together. It felt unfamiliar. But I didn't hate the weight of it. For the next 2 months, Fu Hanchen and I worked together to close the net on Gu Shitting. He brought Dr. Zhang Feng back from Australia. I compiled evidence against Gu Shitting. We met every 3 days. We'd lay our new findings on the table and compare notes. Then plan the next move. Fu Hanchen was far more meticulous than Gu Shiyan. For every step, he devised 3 or more backup plans. Just like when he built Morning Light Group from the ground up. Every move was solid, calculated. Sometimes I even wondered if my father hadn't been fooled by Gu Shiyan back then. If he'd entrusted the Shin Group to Fu Hanchen instead, would everything be completely different today? But that thought was just a fleeting moment. My battlefield. I'll clean it up myself. 2 months later, Dr. Zhang Feng was secretly brought back to Portland and placed in a high-security villa in the suburbs under my name. His testimony, the bank transfer records from back then, compiled a 300-page case file on Gu Shitting. Stored across 3 encrypted drives, kept separate. Fu Hanchen, and my lawyer. Everything was ready. All we needed was the right moment. And that moment came faster than I expected. When the news arrived, I was in my office reviewing a quarterly financial report. Ms. Zhou pushed the door open, her expression off. Miss Shen. Gu Shitting sent a message through someone. What did he say? He said, next Wednesday is his mother's 70th birthday banquet. It's being held at the Grand Court Hotel. He asked if you'd do him the honor of attending for a toast. My pen paused for a second. Then I kept signing the document. I'll go. Of course I'll go. Ms. Zhou hesitated. Miss, could this be a trap? Of course it's a trap. I put down my pen and looked up at her. He just wants to see what cards I'm holding. Fine. I'll go and show him. But, Ms. Zhou, when have you ever seen me do something I wasn't sure about? Ms. Zhou nodded. I'll send the reply. Wait. I stopped her. Also, help me order a dress for the occasion. A formal one. Red. The kind of red that screams. The scene at the banquet that day. Fate prepared a grand finale just for me. The Grand Court Hotel banquet hall was brilliantly lit. Over 300 guests mingled, glasses clinking. Gu Shiting stood center in a dark blue mandarin jacket, laughing and chatting with effortless grace. He looked like a refined, scholarly businessman. His silver-haired mother sat with gentle kindness, surrounded by a group of society ladies offering their well wishes. The whole scene was lively, warm, and picture-perfect. It looked nothing like a place for dirty deals. When I walked into the hall, the red of my gown seemed to pull every bit of light toward me. Hanshin followed half a step behind me in a black suit. His step steady, his gaze sharp as a hawk's. The moment Gu Shiting saw me, his polite smile froze for a fraction of a second. But it was back in an instant. He came toward me, glass in hand. "Miss Shen, thank you for honoring us with your presence. You truly light up the room. You're too kind, Mr. Gu." I took the champagne flute he offered and took a small sip. "To a life as vast as the Eastern Sea, longevity matching the Southern Mountains. You're too kind, Miss Shen." He smiled, but his gaze kept shifting between me and Fu Hanchen. "Mr. Fu, you came. That's a rare sight. What's rare is that you still remember me." Fu Hanchen's voice was cool, detached. "It's been 3 years, after all." Gu Shiting's smile deepened a fraction. "How could I forget? That business back then, that business. It's perfect timing. I wanted to have a word with you today, Mr. Gu." My voice was pitched just right, audible to the nearby guests. "I wonder if you could spare a moment to step aside for a chat." Gu Shiting looked at me. The polite veneer in his eyes cracked for an instant, revealing the snake-like coldness beneath. "Of course. Absolutely. Please, Miss Shen." The three of us walked to the balcony at the corner of the ballroom. The night breeze carried the scent of osmanthus from the gardens below. Once the door closed, the din of the main hall was sealed behind the glass. The balcony fell silent, save for the distant, muffled hum of traffic. "What is it you wish to say, Miss Shen?" Gu Shiting leaned against the railing. He swirled the wine in his glass. A thin red film clung to the crystal. "Mr. Gu." I retrieved a manila envelope from my clutch and held it out to him. "Take a look at this." He opened the seal and scanned the document's first lines. His expression shifted subtly. First, his gaze froze. Then, the smile at the corner of his mouth slowly faded. Finally, his entire face went completely blank. But the knuckles of his hand gripping the document turned white. "Zhang Feng." He slid the papers back into the envelope and looked up at me. "You found him." "I've been looking for 3 months," I said. "Australia is quite far. The plane tickets weren't cheap." Gu Shiting let out a short laugh. It sounded cold in the night air. "Miss Shen, you're far more resourceful than I imagined. If my little brother had half your capabilities, he wouldn't be in the mess he's in now." "Your brother simply doesn't have the spine for it," I said. "At least in prison, a person like him gets to stay alive. But some people—" I didn't finish, but the implication hung clear. Gu Shiting stared at me. The temperature in his gaze dropped, degree by degree. Silence stretched between us for several seconds. The distant traffic noise blurred, as if heard through water. He placed the envelope on the railing and brushed his hands together, as if dusting off something dirty. "Shen Qingli." His voice suddenly drops, all that fake warmth gone. His voice turns cold, hard, unyielding. "You think this little pile of papers can take me down? Why don't you try and find out? Do you even know who's backing me?" He takes a step forward, the pressure in the air thickening. It's like a predator finally baring its fangs. "Countless people here eat because of me. Listen. Even if you have Zhang Feng's testimony, even if you drag out every last shred of evidence, who do you think a court is going to believe? A convict like Fu Hanchen? A little orphan girl whose daddy's dead? Or me, Gu Shiting?" I look at him. And suddenly, I smile. "Mr. Gu, have you ever considered one thing?" "What?" "You think you're so powerful? You can manipulate everything? You sent Gu Shurian to get close to me. To lie to me, to call me out of my feelings, out of everything. You killed my father. You framed Fu Hanchen. You think the whole city is your personal chessboard. But then what?" I step forward, face to face, inches apart. "Have you ever considered, you missed one person?" Gu Shiting's pupils contract slightly. "You missed me." I say, each word deliberate. You calculated Gu Shurian's greed perfectly. You calculated Fu Hanshen's sense of honor. You calculated everyone's weakness. But you missed me. You think I'm a naive fool, dizzy from sweet nothings? Wrong. I lift my chin, meeting his gaze head-on. My father's name was Shen Jingming. He built Shen Group from nothing, made it top 3. While you were still clinging to your daddy's coattails. The corner of Gu Shitting's mouth twitches. But he says nothing. That house Zhang Feng has in Australia. You bought it for him through an offshore company. The legal representative is a distant cousin of yours. Registered in the Cayman Islands. It can't be traced to you. But have you wondered how I got every wire transfer record? His expression changes. And that recording. I pull my phone from my clutch and tap the screen. A familiar voice comes from the speaker. It's Gu Shitting's own voice, low and steady. That tone of absolute control. Old Zhang. Make sure this is handled cleanly. No one can get suspicious. You know the dosage for Shen Jingming's medication. Once he's gone, many will want their share. A 12-second recording. But it's more than enough. Gu Shitting's face completely changes. It's not just shock or anger. It's a complex mess of emotions. Disbelief, and a little something I've been waiting for. Fear. His voice cracks for a second. He clears his throat before continuing. When? The night you went to see Zhang Feng 3 years ago. You met at that tea house in East City, right? Private room 43. You ordered tea Guanyin. Zhang Feng hates tea. He only took 1 sip of the cup you poured him. Gu Shitting's hand grips the railing. His knuckles turn white. All that usual calm, gentlemanly composure is gone. He's like a puppet whose mask has been ripped off, revealing the broken, ugly truth underneath. Your cousin. I've already had a chat with him. He won't take the fall for you. He'll testify. I put my phone away, smoothing the cool fabric of my gown. So, Mr. Gu, do you think I can take you down? The balcony is silent for a long time. The night wind blows. It makes the glass in his hand tremble slightly. A single drop of liquor spills over the rim. It lands on his dark blue shirt like a drop of dark blood. He looks at me. All the planning and waiting these 3 years. All the patience and pretending. It all comes together now, a blade finally unsheathed. At that moment, Shen Qingli. His voice is lower, hoarser than before. You win. I know. But don't get too cocky. I'll do a few years inside, and when I get out, Mr. Gu, I cut him off. You're 48 now. In 14 years, you'll be 62. How many years do you have left to fight me? His lips part. But no words come out. Even if you get out, I say. Gu Corp falls after your father's death and you took over. It was worth 5 billion. What's left now? You know the number. He looks at me. The light in his eyes shifts from cold fury to something complicated. With all his defenses gone, only a thin layer of exhaustion remains. He opened his mouth, then shut it again. What am I? You're just like your father, he said. Shen Zhangming negotiated with my dad the exact same way back then. Standing right across, not even blinking. Revealing his cards one by one. Same old line. How many years can you waste with me? Stunned, then a wave of emotion stung my nose. But I didn't let it show. I just straightened my back. I stared at my father's killer. Thanks for the compliment. I said. We'll settle the rest in court. Gu Shitting wasn't taken away on the spot that night. I saved the grand finale for the courtroom. After all, whether it's Zhang Feng, the recording, or the testimonies, what matters is a public verdict, not some private score settling. He spent the whole night on the terrace, missing his mother's birthday party. They said he locked himself in the lounge and smoked all night. Early the next morning, police cars were already parked downstairs at his company. By the time the news swept through Portland's business circles, I was at home having breakfast with Ms. Zhou. Ms. Zhou, scrolling her phone, said Gu Shitting was arrested. Suspected of murder. Bribery, commercial fraud, at least 6 charges. I picked up a soup dumpling, put it in my mouth, and chewed it slowly. Swallowed it, then took a sip of soy milk. Miss Zhou put her phone down. What are you thinking? I looked at the osmanthus tree my father planted. Blooming exceptionally well, its fragrance fills the yard. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dancing golden spots on the ground like scattered gold. I'm thinking about my dad, I said. That afternoon, I went to the cemetery on the outskirts of town. Fu Hanchen originally wanted to come with me. I said no, I wanted to be alone for a while. He didn't insist. Just said, call me if you need anything, and turned to leave. I stood long before Dad's tombstone. In the photo, he was wearing that gray suit. Smiling, crow's feet gathering at the corners of his eyes. That was his favorite picture. Taken after I got into college. He was grinning with joy. Dad. I crouched, wiping the dust off with a handkerchief. Gu Shitting's behind bars now. Zhang Feng is back too. I figured everything out from before. You can rest in peace. A wind blew through the cypress groves flanking the cemetery, rustling the leaves. A bird called in the distance. Its cry clear. I crouched, arranging the flowers, and cleaned up the withered branches and leaves. After finishing all that, I stood up. I brushed the dirt off my knees. One more thing. I looked down at his smiling face in the photo. My nose suddenly stung a little, but I didn't cry. I cried all the tears I had to cry in these past 3 years. The ones that are left, I'll save for laughing later. I'm doing fine now. Don't you worry about me. By the time I left the cemetery, it was almost dark. The lot was empty, someone by my car. Fu Hanchen was leaning against the car door. He held an unlit cigarette between his fingers. When he saw me come out, he put the cigarette back in his pocket. What are you doing here? I asked. I was worried you'd think too much driving back alone, he said. I looked at him. In the twilight, his features seemed softer than in daylight. The dark circles under his eyes seemed a little lighter too. He just stood there, not saying anything unnecessary. Just quietly waiting for me to walk over. I walked over. He got in passenger side, then the driver's. He started the car, drove out the gates. The road down the hill was lined with neat rows of cypress trees. The sunset burned a fierce orange-red across the horizon. Fu Hanchen. What are you planning to do next? I watched the tree shadows whipping past the window. Reopen morning light group, or find a place to rest for a while? Let's get Shin group straightened out for you first, he said. After Gu Shitting's downfall, Portland's power structure is definitely going to get reshuffled. You can't handle that alone. How do you know I can't handle it? He glanced at me, then turned back to watch the road ahead. I know you can handle it. But I still want to help you. It was quiet in the car for a few seconds. Only the low hum of the engine and the wind howling outside. Fu Hanchen. Why didn't you wait for me this afternoon? He glanced at me again, then smiled. It was a very faint smile, almost imperceptible. I saw it. 3 years ago, I waited for you in vain. Now, I don't wait. I come find you myself. I turned my face toward the window. Outside, the sky had grown completely dark. Streetlights flickered on one by one, like strings of pearl necklaces hanging in midair. My face was reflected in the car window glass. I smiled unknowingly. Fine, I said. Help then. He let out a low laugh, but didn't say more. The car left the hill and merged into the city traffic. Neon lights lit up in sequence on either side. The city shimmered. I leaned back, watching the streetlights outside the window pass by one. Exhausted but free. 3 years. For these 3 years, I've been a tightly wound string, plotting and scheming through every single day and night. Holding back, waiting, with every passing second. Now, I can finally breathe. Finally start living like a human being again. The car stops at a red light. Fu Hanchen hands me candy from the dashboard. He bought it at the convenience store earlier. Strawberry flavor. Pink wrapper. Want it? I take it, glance at it, and smile. Since when did you start carrying candy around? A habit I picked up during those years inside. Sometimes, when things get rough, something sweet helps. I unwrap the candy and pop it into my mouth. The strawberry sweetness spreads on my tongue. With a cheap, artificial flavor, but it's comforting. Good? Not really, I say. But it's okay. The light turns green. The car moves forward again. I look at the road ahead. Straight. Wide. Flanked by bright, shining lights on both sides. I've driven this road countless times. But never once as lighthearted as today. My father's been gone for 3 years. Gu Shurian lied to me for 3 years. Lin Shui put on her act for 3 years. Gu Shiding pulled the strings from behind for 3 years. For 3 years, I lived like a fish with its scales bristling. Every step cautious, every breath laced with hatred. But now, that hatred is slowly dissipating. Like morning fog fading before dawn. Revealing a clean, clear sky beneath. Fu Hanchen. What now? Have you ever thought about what? I turn to look at his profile. Streetlight sweeps his face through the window. Light and shadow alternating. If you hadn't gone in 3 years ago. If you told me what you found back then. If we had gotten together then. He doesn't wait for me to finish. I have, he says. The first year inside, I thought about it every single day. Then I stopped. Why? Because thinking was useless. His voice is flat. Overthinking won't change the past. I'd rather plan for the future. I turn away. Gazing out. What do you want to do now? Yes. What? He smiles again. That smile flickers in and out of the passing streetlight's glow. But I see it clearly. To walk the rest of the road with you. I don't say anything, but the candy wrapper in my hand was crumpled from my grip. The car pulled up in front of the Shen family villa. I pushed the car door open and got out. Fu Hanchen got out too. He stood by the car. Rest well tonight. Call me tomorrow. I'll take you to the company. Where are you staying? I rented an apartment near the company. Not far from Shen Group. Fu Hanchen, yeah. Thank you, I said. He looked into my eyes. The streetlight made his pupils shine so bright. You're welcome. And, I paused. Don't carry it all alone anymore. He didn't answer. But he looked at me and smiled. That smile matched the one from his engagement banquet 10 years ago. The curve of his lips, the fine lines at the corners of his eyes, the slight tilt to the right. So, he hadn't changed at all. The one who changed was me. I had walked a very, very long road. Taken so many, many detours. Now, I've finally walked back to the right person. The scent of the osmanthus tree in the yard drifted over. Sweetly filling the path. I walked to the main door. At the door, I looked back. He was still by the car. The night wind ruffled his hair a bit, but he didn't move. See you tomorrow, I said. See you tomorrow, he replied. I pushed the door open and went inside. The osmanthus scent and city lights were shut out behind me. The warm yellow light inside the house washed over me. I took off my shoes, heading barefoot to the second-floor bedroom. Passing by the study, I stopped for a moment. The computer, linked to surveillance, was still on. The screen was frozen on the Grand Court Hotel entrance from 3 months ago. Gu Shurian's deathly pale face. I walked over and pressed the power button. The moment the screen went black, moonlight slipped through the curtain gap, laying a thin silver line on the floor. I stood in that patch of moonlight. Suddenly, this house that unsettled me for 3 years had finally become a place where I could truly sleep soundly. 3 years. A full 3 years. I've finally settled everything that needed to be settled. The one who deceived me is in prison. The one who betrayed me is wandering the streets. The one responsible for my father's death has been brought to justice. I've reclaimed everything that was mine, piece by piece. From now on, I'll walk this road. No need to look back. I went to the bedroom window. Pushed it open. The night wind, carrying osmanthus scent, rushed in, filling the entire room. The osmanthus tree swayed its golden branches under the moonlight. Every autumn, it blooms this beautifully. No matter what I've been through. No matter who's come and gone in this house. It's been right there, blooming year after year. I take a deep breath. drawing that night air, scented with osmanthus, deep into my lungs. There's so much to do tomorrow. The Shin Group's acquisition deal needs to keep moving forward. Fu Hanchen can't handle the project alone. The mess the Gu family left behind needs to be cleaned up, bit by bit. The days are long, the road ahead is far. It's different now. The person standing by my side is the right one. I close the window, draw the curtains, and get back into bed. The pillow carries the faint scent of laundry detergent. The covers are warm. Before I close my eyes, I take one last look at the photo of my dad on the nightstand. He's smiling in it, little crow's feet at the corners of his eyes. Exactly the same as before. Dad, I whisper to the photo. My voice so soft only I can hear it, I'm doing okay. Don't worry about me. Then I turn off the light. In the darkness, I listen to my own steady breathing. Faintly, from outside the window, comes the distant sound of traffic. Muffled and far away. Moonlight seeps through a gap in the curtains, a thin silver line. Falling on the floor, shining quietly. I sleep deeply, soundly, without any dreams.